Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today's video is Sussy Sunday, where we try and find the truth. Our first post comes from the relationship advice subreddit, posted by ThrowRa07245. The girl, 23 female, that I, 24 male, was seeing, hadn't contacted me for months, and then I found out she's pregnant with my son. Is there anything I can do? I haven't seen her for 6 months, and she cut me off and blocked me. She has a husband, and he was away for a while, so I thought she'd gotten bored of me when he came back. Then I saw her. I was visiting my sister who lives in the same town as her. I went to the shop to get something, and she was very visibly pregnant. I was staring at her until she noticed me, and she said, "Hi, how are you?" as if nothing ever happened. I told her she should have told me why she cut me off, and not just left me unable to contact her. She mentioned that her husband is away again, and she asked if I could stop by her house. I told her I wasn't going to start whatever we were again, and she said it's not like that, she just wants to talk. I ended up going, and she told me that she's having a boy, and that it's mine. She explained how she realized that she was pregnant before her husband came home, and that she'd had a period after he went away, so he's definitely mine. She then said I was never supposed to know, and she wanted me to move on. I told her I wanted to be involved in my son's life, and she can come live with me. She said I was a mistake, and she doesn't want me ruining our son's life. She called me selfish and talked about how if I get involved, my son's life will be ruined, and that her husband can give him a better life than I could. She told me she doesn't want to see me again, and that there's nothing I can do. I begged her, but she wouldn't listen, and called me selfish before hitting me. I left after that, because I felt like crying, and I didn't want her to see me cry. I had a meltdown in my car, and drove away. I'm still at my sister's. I haven't talked to anyone about this. I have no idea what I can do. Too long didn't read. I've been cut off, and I can't be in my son's life, and I have no idea what to do about any of this. Down in the comments, AITA says, honestly, if you're serious about being in your kid's life, just tell the husband what happened. He'll make sure a paternity test gets done. At that point, she'll either have to be a single mum or accept you as the father. P.S. You're both scummy for cheating. And Season Positive 6771 says, or OP should also entertain the possibility that she and her husband may have used him to get pregnant if they were trying for a while. It's cheaper than using a sperm bank, although it was a lot more common in the past. Our next story comes from the PettyRevenge subreddit, posted by Charming University 98. Roommate stole from me, so her wallet vanished. Back in college, I had a better credit score than my other 3 roommates, so I put our internet and TV under my name. Otherwise, the deposit would have been $600. The cable company offered me a $300 Visa gift card upon sign-up. 2 months later, I called them because the gift card hadn't arrived. Then they tell me it was sent weeks ago, and eventually I'm able to find out, via Visa, that someone has used it at the What the Burger, Target and liquor store near my house. I'm pissed off because obviously one of my roommates has used it, but I don't know which one. A few weeks later, roommate 2 complains that their $200 birthday gift card to Target has gone missing too. His mum still had the receipt, and the store was able to tell her that someone used it at the Target near our house. He's obviously pissed off too, but now we've realised it's probably one of the other 2 roommates. A couple weeks after that, roommate 3's wallet disappears. We turned the house upside down looking for it, and we knew it had to be in the house because her car key is attached to her wallet, and her car is parked at the house. She's absolutely frantic, sobbing, screaming, hyperventilating. She was throwing stuff everywhere and having an absolute meltdown while tearing the house apart. We've never seen her behave like this, so we're all kind of surprised that she'd be that upset about her wallet. It's stressful, sure, but I genuinely was concerned about how she was reacting. She says the gift card thief must have taken it, implying that it's roommate number 4, the only person who hasn't had something stolen yet. A few days after that, I found her wallet in the trunk of my car. We'd gone to get groceries together, and I guess she just laid it in the trunk while we're unloading. I'm like, holy cow, I found her wallet! And then I opened it up because I'm just excited to confirm that it is indeed her wallet. Bam! Both stolen gift cards, front and center. No doubt. The Visa gift card has my name printed on it, and roommate 2's mum has written something in Sharpie on his gift card. I realised that she'd had a meltdown because she was afraid we'd find out that she was the thief. I left the wallet, cash and all, right where it was, pushed up against the inner lip of the trunk, so you couldn't see it unless you leaned further enough into the car. A locksmith wouldn't make new keys for her without the title, and the title was in the glove box of her locked car. All in all, she spent about $500 replacing her DL, title and keys, not to mention not being able to drive her car for 2 weeks. I moved out of the state with her wallet still in my car, and finally tossed it in the trash a few months later. Sometimes the universe just hands you a petty revenge. Posted by a throwaway account. My 32 female, husband 34 male, won't give me access to his income/bank account. My husband is the sole income earner. We agreed 8 years ago that I would stay home with the kids and he would provide. I worked a minimum wage job previously, so my entire income would have gone to daycare costs for our 2 kids. We now have 3. For the past 8 years, I've not had access to his income/bank account, even when he was working out of the city/province. Anytime I needed anything for the kids or the house, I would have to talk to him to e-transfer me some of the money, or pick it up himself if he happened to be home. I don't get to see how much his checks are, so I can't properly budget because I don't know how much is coming in. Some of our bills aren't getting paid, and some have added up so significantly due to the said non-payment that it's going to take us a long time to pay down the balance. This has also resulted in a massive drop in my credit score because a few bills are in my name. A few days ago, I brought this up with him again and said it's frustrating that I still don't have access to the income, and I feel it's demeaning to have to ask for money constantly. I asked him why he won't give me access to it, and he said, I don't know, I'm just weird about it. This is the same reason I get if I ask to borrow his phone. That's a whole other story. Based on how the conversation went, he has zero intention of giving me access to the income, and I'm not sure what to do. I'm feeling pretty lost and pretty frustrated at this entire situation, and I'm hoping for some guidance. I have considered finding a minimum wage job, but again, my income would only end up covering the daycare costs. I plan to go back to school, but it's gonna take me a number of years before I'm earning my own income, and I can't live like this until then. How can I best navigate this to find a solution? Would it be beneficial to sit down with him and further discuss why he's weird about allowing me access to his income? Are there better/other questions I should be asking? Too long didn't read. My husband won't give me access to his income and has no intention to, and I'm feeling pretty lost. Why is he so secretive and controlling with their money? Is it just about keeping his wife under his thumb? Or is something else going on? Why are the bills suddenly not getting paid? Does he have a gambling problem? Or a mistress? Our next story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit, posted by bothwarning9529. Am I wrong for doting on my buddy's pregnant wife? My best friend Chris and I are both expecting our first babies with our wives. My wife is 36-ish weeks, and I believe Chris's wife Polly is somewhere around 28 weeks. Chris and I are very different in how we treat our wives and their pregnancies. Like, Chris still has Polly do a lot, whereas I'll take the weight off my wife in literally any single way I possibly can, even small things, mainly because I feel utterly useless, and I don't want my wife straining herself to do things I could easily do myself, especially while she's growing my baby and is uncomfortable in many ways. But I guess I effed up the other day. So Chris and Polly invited us out on their boat to go swimming and fishing. My wife was a bit uncomfortable because she's getting close to her due date and is afraid of going into early labour, so her anxiety is a bit heavier than usual. Well, Chris kept asking Polly to get up and do stuff for him, and I'd go right behind her and be like, no, sit down, I've got it, and essentially did the same thing I would do for my own wife. Well, there's a store along the lake that we stopped off at, so I could grab some beers, and Polly asked me to grab her a few things, so I did. A mixture of both snacks and drinks, like 4 or 5 items. When I got back to the boat, my wife looked in the bag I got and was immediately pissed off and didn't talk to anyone for easily an hour. I have no idea why she was so upset. So when we stopped off and Chris and Polly jumped in to swim, I asked what was wrong, and she's like, pretty effing pathetic that you get her literally everything she asked for, and you couldn't even get me the one thing I asked for. I told her I didn't hear her ask for anything, and she said, yeah, because you were so busy doting on someone else's pregnant wife that you couldn't pay attention to what your own wife was saying. I truly didn't hear her. But then Chris gets back on the boat a bit later, looks at my wife and says, where's your drink? And my wife just glared at me. So apparently my buddy heard my wife, but I didn't. Which of course just adds fuel to my wife's anger, because it looks really bad. I was right beside my wife and Chris was on the other side of the boat. So I should have heard her. Later on in the night, she told me she's never been so uncomfortable in her life, because both Polly and Chris noticed I didn't get my wife the one thing she asked for, after getting Polly everything she asked for. So it embarrassed her. And that she's not comfortable with me doting on Chris's wife at all, and that she doesn't want to hang out with him for a while because now she's insecure over this. I was just trying to be nice. Am I wrong? Okay, so let's break this down. His own wife is heavily pregnant, close to popping pregnant. Didn't want to go on the boat as she's worried about her water breaking, but you all end up on the boat anyway. Seems like you didn't really take on her feelings there at all. So I'm suspicious that he's not the doting husband he claims. And why was he so keen to go on the boat against his wife's wishes? And then so focused on Polly, who's not as pregnant, that he couldn't even hear his own wife and didn't even think to check what his wife wanted, or even grab something for her at the store? The one thing I'm sure of is, he isn't the doting husband he claimed, as that's clear from the post. But is he into Polly? Or did he just want to show up his buddy Chris? Our next story posted by Throwlays. Something's not right with my sister and my brother, but I don't really want to throw accusations out there. My sister's 18 female and my brother's 21 male. They're both my half-siblings. My sister's my mum's child and my brother's my dad's child. They're not related to each other. I want to say that I first noticed something going on during the holiday season, but not anything major, so I didn't notice at the time. Nothing too major, just a lot of laughing and talking with each other. I've noticed other things since then, but these 2 things I'm about to share really stuck with me. When I really started to think something was up was about 3 weeks ago. It was my brother's birthday party, and I noticed that he'd left. It was his birthday after all, but I didn't notice my sister had left. People started to look for him, and my girlfriend texted me that she'd found them. Yeah, them. My sister was with him in his car. I feel like my girlfriend suspected something was weird, but she didn't elaborate. When I asked him why he was in his car during his own party, he said they were going to pick up some more food. I practically forced myself to believe that. It was what happened a few days ago that I can't get past. I went to my dad's house and my sister was there, sitting on his bed. Why would my sister be there? My brother was shirtless, but I'll give it a pass since he often walks around like that. I asked my brother and he got angry. He denied that anything happened. I didn't accuse him of anything and asked me why I was there. Gee, I wonder why I was at my dad's house. I feel like something's going on. I really don't want to say it out loud, but you can assume what I mean. Should I press on it? I want to admit I'm pretty wary of what I could find out. I kind of want to know exactly what you asked for him to get so defensive. Down in the comments, Becky Lately says, maybe they're just smoking weed together or something. And Grizzly says, I think you've been watching too much porn. It really could be anything, but if you decide to dig, you might find something that you don't want to know. Hey, it's not like they're blood relatives or underage or anything. Some things may be just better left in the dark. And now it's time for your unethical life hack. Please remember, this isn't a suggestion. Don't try this in real life. Posted by Tariq Woolen is Elite. If you see someone advertising their Cash App or Venmo so you can buy them a drink, request money instead of sending it, there's a chance they'll be too drunk to realize before accepting it. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of bachelorette party, buy the bride a drink, or just married, buy us a drink, on the back of cards or posted on social media. Most people, when using Venmo or a Cash App, just hit the confirmation button out of habit. Add in alcohol and other people randomly sending in money, and you have a decent chance of getting like $5 to $15. 20 or more is probably pushing it though. Down in the comments, A997 says, there was this lady who was driving around like an effing a-hole with her Venmo written on her rear windshield saying it was her birthday. I Venmo'd her $1 saying, learn how to drive, bitch. Which got me thinking, what if I just wrote my Venmo on my rear windshield and drove around like an a-hole to bait people into yelling at me via Venmo donations? Then 63 Horses adds, there was a legit guy who drove slow and had his Venmo displayed so you could pay him to speed up. I saw it here a long time ago. And then someone found a picture of this guy. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.